This is the Discover Card Countdown to Green as we get ready to go racing.
For just the third time, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series comes to the young Chicagoland Speedway. And all the stars are here. Race fans don't have to wait for a special Midsummer Classic because in the Winston Cup Series, every race is an all-star race. This July, Chicago is the all-star city, but the first pitch comes today. And in this game, every pitch is a fastball.
All set? Let's go.
Last week, the Pepsi 400 ended with a bang. Greg Biffle's first Winston Cup victory. Who's next?
Line it up, baby!
Maybe a young driver ready to win again? Or a veteran racing toward an overdue return to victory lane? Chicago turned one young Cub into a star and has made another a bear to beat. It's game day in Chicagoland. The Bulls are in town.
You're unbelievable.
And this star knows the race to the championship is no slam dunk.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double shot inside.
NBC Sports presents NASCAR. Live from the Chicagoland Speedway in Joliet, Illinois, it's the Tropicana 400. These fans started pouring in here early this morning with great anticipation. The track record smashed in qualifying. The first three on the grid are former Winston Cup champions. And a dozen drivers are trying to do what Greg Biffle did last week, get their first Winston Cup win. Hi everybody, I'm Bill Weber, just outside of Victory Lane here at the Chicagoland Speedway. Today, the Winston Cup Series hits the halfway mark. The Tropicana 400 is race 18 of 36. Pole sitter Tony Stewart leads a trio of talented drivers at the front of this field that have combined for 6 Winston Cup championships and 121 career victories. Today, page 1 is row 1. Here's Marty Snyder.
And Bill, when you walk through the garage area this morning, everybody says the 20 car is the one to beat. Tony, do you agree with that popular belief?
I like what everybody's talking about. We got a really good car. I mean, the Home Depot Monte Carlo has been good from the first run off the truck, and that's the type of scenario you want to have as a driver, is to take the thing in the first run of the first practice session on Friday and have it be solid and stable and fast. And every time we've been out, it's been quick. So hopefully we got a great starting spot with the pole, and hopefully we can get out front and stay out front all day. The
car he has today has raced once this year, Matt Yoakum, and it won at Pocono.
Jeff Gordon's won at 19 and 23 racetrack, a second here last year. You've got the two-time Kansas winner on the grid. You have to like your odds, Jeff.
Well, I like the way the car's driving. It's really fast, and we've got great track position starting up on that front row, and that #1 pit stall. So things have been going really good this weekend, and we're going to fight real hard to try to get that win here.
Quickly, how are you feeling?
I'm better. I get better every day. I'm still not 100%. It's pretty warm out, but I'm going to stay real hydrated. And, I'm not going to use that as an excuse. If we win, or if we're out there today, we're going to have a shot at winning, and I'm going to make sure that I give it everything I got.
He's never won here, never led here. Both those factors could change today. Dave?
Well, Matt Kenseth has been the points leader for 14 straight races, but he's qualified 24th here today at Chicagoland. Matt, is that car good enough to win or just protect your points lead?
I don't really know yet. I mean, we're going to run as hard as we can, and hopefully it's good enough to win. And, I would have liked to qualify a little farther up to the front here, because the track position is probably as important or more important here than anywhere we go all year. But I feel like our DeWalt car was doing everything I wanted to do in both practices yesterday, and was real happy with it. Today's a different day. There's been a Busch race, and, it's a different day. But what we had yesterday I was pretty happy with, and thought it was going to be pretty competitive.
Well, last week at Daytona, he finished 6th to help his points lead. But his teammate Greg Biffle, well, he won the race.
If Greg Biffle's name is new to you, he's from Vancouver, Washington. Got discovered by old BP.
Benny, you don't know how much I appreciate you recommending me to Jack Roush. Without you, I wouldn't be standing up here tonight.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion after hooking up with Jack Roush. On to the NASCAR Busch Series champion there 1 year ago. Awesome job, guys. Way to go. Greg Biffle is going to score a win at Daytona in just his 23rd NASCAR Winston Cup start.
Greg Biffle in victory lane, his first Winston Cup win. It comes at Daytona. He can brag for life. And they will always say, Greg Biffle, Winston Cup winner. Congratulations. I'm sure that was a fine moment, but what was it like walking into the garage here on Friday?
I'll tell you what, it was exciting walking in here, you know, with all the people and all the phone calls I've gotten and all the congratulations. You know, I was so excited to win my first Winston Cup race, and then to win it at Daytona was so special.
Now, you've talked about how this team has struggled at times. Now you've been to victory lane. Can you get back there?
I think we can, and I've been saying all season, I think this team's capable of winning this season on the circuit, and you know, I really feel we can get back in victory lane. I say back in, but I didn't feel that we could win a restrictor plate track. So I think we can win one of these races, and I want to win more now than I ever did.
It lights the fire, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It just it puts that thing in you. You know you can get in victory lane, and you know, these guys are working hard, and we're okay here at Chicago today, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, thanks for coming up here. Best of luck. Go get your second one.
Thank you.
Greg Biffle is 20th in the Winston Cup Championship standings. Here's a look at the NASCAR top 10. Matt Kenseth increased his lead, now 180 points in front. A year ago, after 17 races, it was 295 points from 1st to 10th. By the way, a tie for 11th right now between Tony Stewart and Mark Martin.
Discover Card Countdown to Green is brought to you by Discover to Go. It pays to discover. By Tropicana Pure Premium. Nothing but the juice. Tropicana Pure Premium. And by Subway. Fresh-made sandwiches on fresh baked bread. Subway. Eat fresh.
This week, NASCAR fined 3 teams for violations that were committed at the Daytona International Speedway leading up to the Pepsi 400. The 45 team of Kyle Petty was fined $25,000 and 25 driver and owner points for unapproved rear jacking bolts. Same fine assessed Morgan McClure Motorsports for an unapproved fuel cell. And the 15 team of Michael Waltrip also fined $25,000 plus 25 owner and driver points for an unapproved carburetor. Now, the points penalty dropped Michael 417 points behind championship leader Matt Kenseth, but he remained in 5th place in the standings. Benny Parsons is standing by upstairs to call the race this afternoon with Alan Bestwick and Wally Dallenbach. BP, what was the situation with that carburetor on the 15?
Well, Bill, we showed you our engine last week in Daytona, as a matter of fact, our cutaway engine. And we also have a cutaway carburetor. This is the Ventura of the carburetor, where the air comes down through, pulling the fuel down inside the engine to make the horsepower. What NASCAR said, and I talked to John Darby, NASCAR Winston Cup competition director. He said that this hole has to be a certain size. As a matter of fact, NASCAR even has a gauge that goes down inside to make sure that the teams don't enlarge this hole, because, in fact, larger is better. He is saying, John is saying, that the 15 team took a punch and a hammer and hit the punch at the throat of the Venturi, making an indentation inside the carburetor. So when you put the gauge down inside, it hit the bump on the carburetor and would not go down inside, making the gauge believe that the carburetor was small enough. NASCAR looked at that and said, look, hey guys, that was intentional. You did this on purpose, so therefore we're going to fine you 25 points as well as $25,000. Now, in fairness to Michael Waltrip's team, this carburetor was confiscated on Thursday morning in Daytona. So in fact, they ran the qualifying on Friday and the race with a legal carburetor, Bill.
Thanks, Benny, and we'll see you for the Tropicana 400 in just a few moments. Now, last Saturday at Daytona, a scary sight. Late in the race, the hood from the damaged race car of Robbie Gordon flew off and flew into the stands. One fan was held overnight in the hospital for observation and released. NASCAR inspected the 31 car and that hood, and what they found was that a bolt that holds on this tether broke. So the immediate response has been to change this bolt from 1/4 inch to 5/16 of an inch. Now, I asked NASCAR President Mike Helton this weekend if the 31 incident could have an effect on NASCAR's policy toward letting damaged cars return to the racetrack.
It's been a NASCAR style, if you will, to allow cars to re-enter after they've been in an accident, as long as they felt like they were okay. And the feel like it's okay is both a function of the race team as well as NASCAR, the officiating process. It started out at Daytona and Talladega, particularly for a safety issue, that we gave teams one opportunity to get back in, and if they couldn't do it in that one opportunity, we loaded them up. And that's helped a lot, but whether or not we need to be more attentive, more restrictive, look for different things, that's something that we learn from every incident.
Now this new 5/16 bolt is also required to hold the cables in place for the deck lid. Winston Cup Series Director John Darby told me this weekend that coming this week, NASCAR will conduct additional tests to try and keep these hoods attached, and we'll discuss that more in the Tropicana 400. Last week, Greg Biffle won the Pepsi 400 using fuel mileage. A year ago, Kevin Harvick won here on fuel mileage. Fuel mileage could be a factor again today, but a new rule in effect has an impact not only on gas, but the gas man. Dave Burns is standing by with a story of how service at the full-service pump on pit road is changing.
Well, Bill, 7 crewmen go over the wall to perform a pit stop as quickly as possible. So they choreograph every single move. Now, sometimes they invent ways to move even faster that, in NASCAR's view, compromise safety. And one of those moves that they made was to toss an empty fuel can. Let me show you what the catch can man used to be able to do. Bill, thank you for the assist here.
Okay, Dave.
Fuel goes in from the gas man. Catch can man would reach over, take the fuel can. As soon as it was empty, lift it up, find his friend over the wall, Marty, throw it to him, thanks buddy, and be able to perform other things on the car, like maybe work on the spoiler a little bit or help do the track bar adjustment if his arm was long enough. But that's a little bit dangerous to throw that over there, and NASCAR said we'd like you to control the can instead. So let me show you what the catch can man will do now. Bill,
okay,
puts it in, comes over like this. As soon as it's empty, catch can man will take it now and control it. 2 weeks ago, race director David Hoots said there's a loose definition for control, but we don't want you guys tossing him anymore. You might set it down, you might just hang on to it, only 10 pounds empty. But it is a new rule here this weekend. You won't see any more guys throwing the can back over the wall. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. NASCAR will be watching for that here this afternoon. You know what gets pit reporters in more trouble than anything? Talking about the guys on pit road or the guys back at the shop. My wife goes, what about the women in the sport? Well, a lot of women track the scoring summary. A number of the top PR people in the sport are women. In fact, the feature producer that wrote this lead-in is a woman. Wait a minute. Benny Parsons has the story of one girl that simply wants to be one of the guys.
So where are you from originally?
Jonesville, Louisiana.
Jonesville, Louisiana. So do you have friends or relatives or somebody in the racing business in Charlotte?
No, didn't know anybody when I moved up here.
Well, what possessed you to do that, girl?
I just sort of fell in love with the sport, and I liked cars and hot rods and, you know, anything that was loud or fast.
I mean, check this out. Did you grow up as a tomboy as a young girl?
You could say that. You
climbed trees and played with snakes and
rode
frogs?
Horses, beat up the neighborhood boys.
Did you? Just 6 months after she moved to Charlotte, Brienne got the job most men could only dream of, tearing down engines for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Big old strong arms like that, though, man. Do you work out?
Sometimes.
Do you? Mm-hmm. Yo, getting those plugs that look like that's work.
Check the valve lash, leak it down, do a cylinder leakage test on it, cylinder head breakaway torque, check all that.
So this is not just take the thing apart and wash it up and clean it up. I mean, as you take it apart, you have to check everything.
Right.
Wow.
Exactly. At first, the guys really didn't know how to act. They were like, oh, God, you know, a chick working here. Great. And then, you know, they kind of warmed up to me after a while.
Have you thought about being part of the pit crew?
Yeah. I want to be a tire carrier.
Can you throw it up on that hub like you need to?
Yeah.
So maybe one of these days we'll see you on the road as a tire carrier.
Maybe. I think they're scared of me.
What do you mean scared of?
Better not put that in there. Or edit that out.
Thanks, Benny. Still ahead, Wally Dallenbach will take former NFL quarterback Jim McMahon for a ride. And next, after a season that went to the dogs, Kevin Harvick is happy, healthy, and hounding the leaders in the race to the championship.
See, now you can leave him there. Come on. You stay. He won't move till you give him the word.
No, I can't screw him up. If I run, he won't go.
Nah, he won't go nowhere.
He won't go anywhere. You're sure?
Positive. Try to get him to leave.
Indy. Indy. Oh! How much trouble is he in right now?
He's not supposed to get up.